Welcome to another Overcome show. In today's episode, we're going to talk about the road to recover from a torn bicep to winning a overall bodybuilding show. Matter of fact, the bicep torn did happen during a prep for a show, so he had to take off, recover, heal, and get better. And boy, he did come back much better. So let's get it started. All right, as I announced, here is the man that tore his bicep and came back much better, much stronger, and won overall bodybuilding show. Chip Kelley, good to have you here, my friend.
Good to see you again.
Yes, Chip, I'd like to start going back to the day of the injury.
Sure.
It was just a regular workout. Did you do anything like
A-
crazy, or it was just a normal thing that you always done?
Actually, it was during a hockey game.
Oh, it was not a workout. Oh.
No. Everybody always asks me, "Were you deadlifting?" Because that's how most people do it. It was actually during a hockey game. I had gone to the gym earlier in the morning, and I play hockey on the weekends. And during the middle of the second period, I was playing defense, and I was at the point, and I had gone with a slap shot, so left-handed. And as soon as I extended my arm with the stick, I felt that infamous little pop. It wasn't very painful, but I even kind of heard it, as most people say. And I thought, well, that was kind of odd. And then I changed shifts, and the next time I went out, when would try to just with the stick to just kind of hit the puck, there was no power behind it. And so I said, I think something's wrong here. I wonder if I pulled something. Sure enough, in the middle of the night, you can start seeing, on the arm, it'll usually start bruising if you've torn a muscle or something. And I could start seeing that bruise happen. And so Saturday morning, I went to the doctors. I said, well, I think I may have torn my bicep. And he's feeling around, and he says, no. He goes, I think you've actually ripped your bicep tendon. I can't feel it. Now, it
Oh,
could just
wow.
swollen, but I'm pretty 95% sure your dentist. You got to go see an orthopedist. And so, sure enough, through MRIs and other things, the bicep, the tendon had actually ripped the distal head and snapped back. So it actually did tear part of the tricep just as part of the tendon, and the bicep as part
I'm
of it snapped.
so surprised that you actually didn't feel that much pain because usually when I talk to people that torn something pec or biceps, they say that it hurts a lot.
Yeah, I mean, it was funny because I didn't really feel that much pain. I never really had much pain through the whole ordeal. I mean, the good news, but and of course, playing hockey, I told the guys, at the intermission between the third period, I said, I don't think I can play. I said, I think I've injured myself because I don't even have any power to move the puck. And, hockey guys just rub dirt on and play. I said, no, I think I've never stopped during the middle of the game before. And I said, no, I'll just someone else take my shift. And it's funny because I emailed them during the week because my arm it just swelled up and completely turned purple all the way from the bicep all the way down the arm. Is the new Avengers movie had come out, and so I was joking with people like 2 weeks before and said I'm collecting Infinity Stones now because I'm still turning into that.
What about so on the same week went to the doctor, MRI and everything. So how long it took for you between you find out that it was a torn and you get a surgery done?
I was pretty fast. I actually had the surgery the following Friday, so it was exactly 7 days. It's with that the longer you don't get it fixed, the harder it becomes to get it fixed. And so once I had gone through the MR, went back, and they said, it's the tendon. And you have the option not to repair it. Some people don't, but really that's sort of a lifestyle issue. If you're 75 and you're not lifting heavy things, you do want to have surgery, but if you still want to lift weights and play games
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that's manual labor job, you want that strength to come back, so you need to have surgery. And he was able to schedule it that Friday. So I had injured it on Friday night, the following week, and had surgery the following Friday morning.
But I remember you were prepping for a show during that time, right?
And that was the frustrating thing is I was 5 weeks after the show. People kept going, "Are you doing the show this weekend?" Because I was right on target, and
Yeah, I remember you were ripped. You were right on.
Yeah, and so it's just it's so frustrating when something like that happens. It's just bad enough that you can't play hockey and you're going to be inconvenienced with just medical bills and rehab and that sort of stuff. But then also, you'd been dieting and training for 3 months and still had a month to go when it happened. So
And that's absurd. And that was not even on the gym. I didn't really pay attention to this detail that was on the hockey game. And again,
well,
you did a movement that you probably always did, right? It's not something nothing new. I mean, you're playing hockey for a long time, so it was nothing new. It was not a situation that you never seen before.
no, I think the only thing I can think of is sometimes when you're preparing for a show and you really get down to really low body fat levels, you do kind of, for lack of term, some guys describe it, you feel kind of dried out. You're just
Yes.
because you
No, I heard about that too. Yeah.
put it in there. I don't know if it was just a question of being so lean and then playing and just doing something you would normally do 1,000 times, and just in the spirit of the game. you know there's another guy coming at me, I'm trying to get to the puck and shoot it off of the neck. Did I overextend it, and just the tendons were kind of quote dry from being so lean and out from a show? It was just a combination of those things. It's hard to say that
Yeah, I was actually talking to Russ from East Side Dojo, and he asked me, "Were you a leaner or something?" Because usually those type of injury happens when you are very lean, you are very dry and things like that. And now it makes more sense,
yeah.
and so I think that that contributes as well.
Yeah.
So after the surgery, how long it took for you to go back to the gym? Because I remember you working out just one side of your body.
I went back immediately. I had
But what
asked.
is what is immediately like a 1 week later?
Oh yeah, no, the like Monday after that, I had asked him, the surgeon, beforehand. I said, can I go to the gym? I mean, obviously we'll have to start rehab and other stuff, but I said, can I do unilateral training? Can I just? I
Hmm.
said, I've known people that have ripped their bicep, or they've had a leg injury. You just train the other side. So as long as I only train that side or legs, is that okay? And he was fine with it. So I think that is something that's changed. I thought with doctors, I think there really is. He was a younger surgeon, so had been in the military and had been overseas, and then came back to states and set up his practice. And I think kind of the newer generation of doctors and surgeons kind of recognize movement is medicine. The days of just go lie down on the couch for 4 months. A lot of people will kind of do that, but he was perfectly fine with just me going back. So what I did is, well, after the surgery, they put you in a plaster cast for about a week before they would take the stitches out and that sort of thing. So I was wearing a sling. And then after that, they put you in a kind of big brace. And to keep the tendon from overstretching, just over
Hmm.
time, they slowly expand the angle out till you get a full extension. And so what I would do is I just would always wear the brace. I mean, the a sling with me in the gym, because they don't want you pulling anything. Even once you get out of that brace, they like, don't open car doors. You don't want to pull it too heavy until about 4 months out. And so I would just wear the sling when I go to the gym, because you just naturally want to grab a plate with both hands.
Yep.
Uh, just doing like leg extensions or or something like that. There's the handles on the side which you typically want to
Yeah,
grab.
naturally you're gonna get, yeah.
Playing it just was a reminder I can't do anything with that, and so I never had any issues with re-injuring it, because I was always pretty good at just carrying the sling.
But you said 4 months, so it took you 4 months to be fully functional and lifting again with both arms and everything.
Well, they generally say for that kind of surgery to get back to quote um, recovery is about 4 months, and so but that's always funny. When NFL players or someone gets injury, people always quote how long it takes to recover from injury. That's the quote to get back to quote normal life activities. Lifting heavy or playing hockey is not normal life activity. So really, it was 5 months after the surgery before he would allow me to play hockey again. And that's pretty
What
typical.
about lifting heavy? Were you able to lift heavy with 6 months, maybe?
For about the first month when I went to rehab, it was all about just kind of range of motion stuff with actually no resistance. So just a lot of kind of stretching, and then kind of just you lose with your hand. It's hard to even just kind of bend around, so you had to just even get that whole movement back. And then afterwards, I said, well, now that that's done, it's time to start strengthening. I said, can we start rehab? He goes, it looks like you know how to train yourself. So just be smart and just start really light. And so what I did is I literally just started with a 5-pound dumbbell after about a month, and just would curl that at the gym, little pink dumbbells. And then just like every 4 or 5 days, I would just go up 5 pounds. So if I didn't have any problems with that, I just went up to the 10-pound dumbbells. And then eventually I could just curl 15-pound dumbbells. So really by the end of the 4 months, I was kind of back to normal strength on both sides. I didn't really push anything super, super heavy. Even just, I mean, because, when you have one of these injuries, you're so worried about, I don't want to be injured. I've heard all these horror stories of people, tearing a bicep again, or like you said, having another pec injury. And so even then I was probably not trying to train at 100%, but still just lift heavy enough and just sort of build the strength over time.
So when did you actually feel like, okay, I'm ready to lift heavy again? I have the confidence on my body to do it.
Yeah, I would say probably 6 months total. I think once I started kind of playing hockey again and was regularly just lifting with both hands at the gym. And then, after probably about several weeks of just saying, okay, things are okay, I'm not getting hurt or re-injured, I'm not feeling any weird sensations, then you kind of could kind of just went back to the normal routine at that point.
Yeah, the good thing about your approach and the muscle that you injured, which was one arm, is that you literally had the whole rest of the body that you could work. You could work
Yeah.
legs, you could work the other arm, you could
Yeah.
do some rows for your back. I mean, there were many things that you could do.
Yeah.
I'm struggling because my doctor said you should not work your upper body now just because you're still healing. I don't want you
Yeah.
to get sweat because there are 2 wires sticking out of your foot. So we have all this idea of infection. So that's the part that I'm struggling, is not being able to do anything, right?
Yeah.
Until probably end of November. So I keep talking about the mental state. And I
Yeah.
don't think you had this problem because you were able to go back right immediately to do something and feel functional.
I
With
think, but I
yeah,
think part too is, I think just getting older. It's funny because when I kept going back every day, everybody's going, "Oh, why are you back at the gym?" I mean, wow, why are you here? You could be home recovering. I thought, I don't want to be home recovering because
yeah,
I mean, I like going to the gym, and this injuries remove so much of what your normal life activity is. The last thing I want to do is sit home and be by myself all the time.
yeah,
And I said, I like coming to the gym, and I said, because I see people I know and that sort of stuff, and I don't want to be home just sort of not doing anything. I think I would feel worse.
yeah.
And so, that was part of what drove it. Because I mean, I remember people telling me all the time, "Oh, wow! I mean, I would just be home recovering." I thought, no, I
That's
was.
exactly the opposite. Yeah, exactly.
I want to be here. And so I think part of it is, I think just getting older. I think, it's still something I need to work on, but it's trying to just recognize stuff happens to you that you can't control. We like to think we can control everything in our life, but the reality is there's a lot of stuff that happens to us we can't control, but we can control our response to it.
Yeah.
Uh,
And
and I think,
I bet you that TJ helped you a lot because TJ had that big injury on his knee.
yeah.
I'm actually gonna have TJ on the show in a couple of weeks to talk about that, but he probably gave you a lot of tips about this as well.
Well, it was that, and what was funny is, because I used to lift with him about once a week at that time, because he had started Legends over in Rockwall, and I still live over in McKinney and area. And one time I went over there because I'm just doing it single handedly. We were working chest, and so I had gotten like 100-pound dumbbell, and got it set up, and of course I got my other arm in the sling, so I got it pushed out, and I rolled back, or went back on the gym, and I almost completely flipped over on the side.
Oh my God, yeah.
So it's like, all right, TJ, you're just gonna have to hold my shoulder down here while we do this, so I can lift it up. And so he was there for part of it, but part of it I had learned from our friend Greg McCoy, because he had ripped his bicep years ago doing deadlifts at the gym,
Yep.
and he was doing kind of unilateral training as well. And so that's the reason I kind of went through it. Because in that case, there were some studies at the time that kind of indicated it would help slow down atrophy or the muscle shrinking, but I don't really find that to be true. But I think just mentally working out, just
I
that,
think
and
it's mentally good. It helps you
it also,
psychologically.
yeah, but it also pushes some of the blood to that side of the injured side as well. So there's thought to be some benefits to it. But I mean, certainly after in 5 months, I could see on my shirt that my left arm was way smaller than the other arm, and it took about 3 or 4 months for the size to kind of balance back out.
3 or 4 months after you start to work both sides, right?
Yeah, because when you're not basically using it for several months at a time, and when it's in a brace at night and that sort of thing, it's just easily loses size.
Hmm.
Uh, fortunately, it came back. So
Uh, did you when you were passing through this, did you research anything about supplementation and the diet? Was anything good for healing purpose that you took during that time?
no, I had researched the training, and that was the main thing. I mean, I was still, because I was preparing for a show. I had been eating pretty clean, and then I had just said, well, I mean, because I'm probably going to be slightly less active, I just still kind of maintained a pretty clean diet, so I wasn't trying to just accumulate a bunch of
But
bad.
did you drop the calorie intake, or you just kept going with the same diet?
Well, I think pretty much. I mean, we probably loosened it up a little bit, but it was probably still a little less than what I would normally do, like in a typical off season, because I just figured I'm just not going to be probably as active
Hmm.
uh, in the gym, just because I'm only training, part of a side, when I'm training upper body. And so you're probably not burning as many calories. Plus, just getting set up you're just moving slower between reps and exercises anyway. So you're not training at the same intensity.
Did you do
Uh,
any cardio?
I'm trying to remember. I think I probably still did some cardio. If I recall, I think I was still doing some cardio. Because I do remember a few times being on the treadmill with the,
This
the,
is thing.
the I'm not grabbing onto the sides of the treadmill or anything. So
And then that what which year was that? Was that 2018 or 2017?
2 years ago, it happened in May 2018. Um, and then so I basically had the summer to because I was going to compete in a show in mid June, and so the rehab was basically the summer, and then just kind of got back to normal by the fall, and then I did um,
And
I
then you
started.
competed in Arkansas the year in 2019, and then you won
Yeah,
the world overall, right? So was
I
that show? Was that show the first show after the surgery?
Well, I did the Kuklo show here in Plano. I think that time it was in May, because I think it was around Memorial Day weekend. So, and I did pretty good there. I did a show 3 months later in Arkansas where I took the overall there. So I partly I picked the Kuklo just because Steve had a good reputation for running a show, and he puts on a good show, but also just because it was the 1 year anniversary. So it was just the mindset of I want to make the comeback now,
Yeah,
and
yeah. And it
this
was a great comeback. I mean, the overall in Arkansas, you brought everything. You won your
yeah.
division. You won the overall. Was beautiful. So it was a tremendous comeback for sure.
Yeah. So I mean, it's nice to have that sort of mentality of, okay, the comeback should always be better, stronger than the setback, as the saying goes. And so, so the timing of that works out as like, well, this can be a year, and I can, just have that as a goal, that this is the comeback. So
You were talking about regaining the feeling when you were lifting. You were gradually increasing pound by pound. But for example, let's say when you were again getting ready for a show in May, before the Google class, you were very dry. There was any moment of hesitation when you were doing an exercise and come back that memory, or did you
I did
even play hockey that season?
hockey like the last month before that show, afraid of jinxing it. So I kind of skipped the last 4 or 5 games before the show, because as soon as I got to the 5 weeks, I thought this is where it happened last time. And the rest of it, you know, not so much, doing a show, in the last 4 or 5 weeks, because you're usually so down on carbs anyway. You start using a lot less weight because you
Yeah.
just don't have the glycogen and the muscle and the energy to even move something heavy. And so you tend to start training lighter anyway. So I think I probably was cautious, just trying to, make sure I'm not doing anything. Some days you go in and maybe you do feel good. And I thought, oh, I left heavy today. I thought, no, we won't do that. We'll just we'll just be smart about how we do it.
Yeah.
But the longer you get away from the injury, the more you kind of lose some of that fear, and just kind of go back to normal.
No, that's awesome, man. I think that this story is a perfect story for the theme of this
Yeah.
podcast. If you are listening on podcasts or YouTube, is the theme of overcome. But there is also something interesting about your story, which is this partnership and now a gym owner. Tell me more about Legends Fitness.
Sure. So TJ used to be, he was my longtime training partner. I had been lifting with him since 2001. He talked me into 2011. He had talked me into my first show. I was all of 153 pounds, but I was the leanest guy there for it. And he eventually became the general manager here at Destination Dallas, and then he had the opportunity to buy his own gym out in Rockwall. So that it was a small facility. He and another partner, Aaron Connor, decided to see about getting a much bigger facility. So they had leased a facility on I-30 on the east side of Rockwall. And I had told, at that time I had a corporate consulting job. It had turned into a full-time travel job, which I did not find very fulfilling at all. And so I had told them, I think that November, I said I need to go back at looking at. At one point in time, I actually had looked at like Anytime and Snap and some other franchises, see about maybe opening a gym, because you can kind of be a little bit of an absentee owner while you still kind of have your corporate job to kind of get the business
So
off
you
the ground.
never really thought of retiring from the corporate job and just be full-time gym owner?
Well, I had told him, I said, you know what, I need to go back to looking at that, because I said, I don't want to be doing this the rest of my life. This is, at that time I was traveling to Portland. So, I mean, just by the time I left the house and got to a hotel in Portland, it was 8 hours later every week. And it was just like, this is draining. And so they said, well, funny, we are thinking about wanting a third partner to help us with this. Would you be interested? And so we had talked, and then January, I think 1st or January 2nd, I think it is, I signed all the paperwork to become one of the other owners of the gym. And we finally got it opened in March of this year,
And then COVID hit.
9 days before the Texas shutdown. We actually opened on the day the NBA and the NHL stopped their season.
Oh,
So
jeez. Wow.
great. So, it kind of, and we were actually closed about 7 weeks in total. We actually opened up a week early once the governor said, there was a famous, made all the national news of a hairstylist in Dallas being put in jail for running her business. And once the governor said, we're not imprisoning business owners, we decided we're going to open up because we're going to cry if we don't do this. And so we actually opened up a week early before the other gyms. And what's interesting is, in a very perverse way, it was sort of a blessing. The fact that many cities closed up before Rockwall, before the state order came, we had a lot of people try out the gym for the 2 or 3, 4 days where, like, Allen and Plano had already shut down gyms. So people were coming over to still get workouts. And they tried out the gym and wanted to become members. And then the week, that Monday we opened, as I said, the week early, we had 45, it was like 43 or 45 people sign up as members. We actually had people standing outside the door.
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah, that's amazing.
And so it's been funny in a sense of, it's very fulfilling. I mean, we kind of have a vision of what we want as a gym. We wanted, it's not a sort of a bodybuilder gym. It's a serious gym. We have powerlifters, bodybuilders, but, we got people who just want to lose 100 pounds.
Right. I mean, yeah, exactly. You have to have the open mind for everyone that wants to get in shape.
Yeah, we don't want to be kind of the general national chain of, just they don't care who comes in as long as they got you tied up on a long-term contract. They don't even care if you show up. We like seeing the same people every day. We want to build a community and have people very passionate about it. And what's funny is one of the members that reviewed us on Google, I think, described us as a hardcore gym with a welcoming community. And
Yeah. Yeah, because the term hardcore gene sometimes people get scared. Even try.
yeah. And I think what's interesting is, I mean, we've seen a lot of the national chains declare Chapter 11. We've seen a lot of local gyms. There's one up from the street from me that was successful, but after COVID, just the members never came back. And in our case, the fact we have not had a week where we've not net added people. I think even last week we still added 10 people over the week, and this is starting the time of the year where gym memberships slow down because it's getting towards the end of the year in Q4. And so I think we are just blessed just because it's really not typical in terms of what a lot of gyms are seeing at this point, the fact that we're growing. But I think part of it is because of who we cater to.
Hmm.
I think a lot of people that kind of sign up at these national big chains where they don't ever feel like members, and when they just sort of were told we're having lockdown, stayed home, they just figured out, well, I can just maybe I could do some light workout at home, and they just never came back as a result. But I think since we cater to such a serious group of people, they want to come in.
Yep.
They like the motivation of coming in. They also, because some of them do compete in powerlifting or bodybuilding or whatever, they don't have $15,000 worth of equipment in their garage gym set up. You can get 10 years of gym membership for the cost it would take to replicate a lot of that equipment. And
Right.
so they want to come in and see all the equipment we have. And I think also just the social aspect. I mean, that's one of the things, people see, especially if you're very serious about what you do, you tend to be very disciplined. So you have a schedule. So you tend to go to the gym at the same time every day. So you see the same people that are also
right
at the same time. So they become part of your family. And, the chance to see them all again is another thing. And so I think because we have that kind of member profile, and a lot of people want that kind of environment. It's been just such a blessing because, as you said, this COVID thing has been a disaster for most.
And also after so many days with social isolation, people also are using the gym as a way for just feel alive again and build the social interaction again. So that's also a benefit at this moment.
Yeah, we had several people say, "Thank God you opened up." I have anxiety, and just being at home and isolated. It was awful.
Mm-hmm.
So come back out and see people again, or work out just to help manage the stress from having anxiety. We had several people talk about just their mental health, just having the gym back open.
Yeah. Oh, great. Great to see that you, TJ, and your partner are doing great at Legends Fit. Thank you very much for taking the time on Sunday to share your story. I think it's very inspirational. It helps myself at this moment. So
I would just add to it is also the other thing I tried to learn through this, and I'm still trying to learn on, is also just gratitude. The other thing people would ask me at the time is, why are you doing this, or why are you just not home feeling sorry? What pushes you through it? I said, I know people that have been diagnosed with cancer, who have lost jobs, and have real crushing injuries and that sort of stuff. Like you, I'm going to be fine in a few months. I'll eventually come back from this. This is not. There are so many things that people would be glad to trade this problem for their problems. And so that was another thing, I think, just aside from the motivation aspect of it all and just learning just to just move forward, is also, if I let this bother me, that's kind of ridiculous. In the grand scheme.
When we put things in perspective, as you said, then we were like, "Well, my God, this is really not a big deal comparing to other people's problems." So you are absolutely right about that.
And you're always going to have down days. There's going to be days where you do get up and you're stiff, or that medical bills come, even though you got insurance. It's never a battle for that, and you're frustrated because you're not doing the things you want to do. But I just remember after 5 minutes, this will pass. It's just a test. it's an opportunity to just learn something about yourself, and that you can push through this kind of stuff. And there are so many people with far bigger problems in the world. If this is the biggest thing I've got to complain about at the moment, then I really don't have that many big problems compared to a lot of people. And that's just kind of the mentality I just kind of use to also push through that. So
Yeah, no, that's an amazing perspective, Chief. I appreciate you sharing this because, as I said, that's my position today. But I'm pretty sure that there are many other people with the same problem right now, not being able to do things and waiting for something and be patient and grind each day. So, thank you
yeah,
very much again for taking the time to share and to be here. I wish you all the luck with the gym. I'm really happy to see that it's growing every month. You all deserve, because I know that TJ and yourself, you do a great job doing the right thing.
yeah.
So if you are in Rockwall or surround area and wants to try out Legends Fit, tell me the address again.
It's 1830 Interstate 30, so it's it's the second business down from Southwest Kia on the eastbound service road. So, and if you're a first responder, we've got like well over 150 of them, because we give a very, very generous discount to any full-time active police, fire, or military. So, so we have a of that as part of the membership as well. So.
Awesome. All right, Chip. Thank you very much. This episode was great, and I talk to you another time. Thank you very much for everything you do, my friend.
All right, you too. Get that foot healed.
All right, take care.